sometimes the tide is running in your favour and you're swimming with it and you're going fast and it's roaring, and other times you're swimming against it, and all you can really do is wait for the tide to turn. G'day, how are you? Welcome to Port Hedland. All I knew about this town before coming here was that it's basically a port where all the mining output leaves Australia. All the iron ore gets loaded onto ships and shipped off. So I wasn't expecting very much. And then this happened this morning. How fast a tide can turn, huh? It's a beautiful day. Let's go for a walk. A few weeks ago, in fact maybe it's more than that now, a month ago, we're in a town called Kalbarri. Kalbarri is on the edge of National Park by the same name, the Kalbarri National Park, about 300-400 kilometres north of Perth. And it's a beautiful place. It's where the red earth of the desert north of Perth hits the ocean, so the water is really pretty. And the national park, all this kind of scattered gorges and red rock. It really is just lovely. When we were there, we had a fantastic time. We actually got over to see Nature's Window, the Z Bends, all the really classic places to go and see in the national park. Unfortunately, about like 3-4 days later, a cyclone came through and wiped the town flat. It's almost even worse than that because there's asbestos in all of the old buildings, and so they were really worried about the fact that there was going to be asbestos in the air in Kalbarri. So yeah, the town really copped it bad. And it's kind of strange when you're now on the road talking with people whose trips were upset by the fact that they couldn't go to Kalbarri because it was completely smashed. Whereas our trip was fine, we got to do it. This turning tide where sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. And things that you weren't expecting to work out for you work out great. And others that you're really hoping for end up being a disaster. A classic example, back when I was running my business, $6 million turnover business, sending students on overseas study programs around the world, we would have to pay our partners overseas in their local currency. And of course what that means is that if we're trying to price something in Australian dollars but we're paying in, let's say, US dollars, if the cost of the US dollar goes up or down, you can either win or you can lose. And you never know which one it's going to be. For the first couple of years, it was super stressful because I can remember one time we had a pretty expensive program, not because we charged a lot, but because the partner overseas charged a lot. And we collected the money from a student, but we hadn't yet paid the partner overseas. And in this meantime, the Australian dollar lost about 10% of value. And suddenly we went from making a little bit of income on that program to being wiped out, actually losing money by sending students on that program. And that was incredibly stressful. A new business where you're desperate just to survive, and suddenly you're losing money because of currency differences, currency exchange rates. So it was a good wake-up call. Basically what we did though was we started trying to take, it's an insurance basically against the currency change, and it's called a currency option. Essentially you get to lock in your exchange rate, and that was amazing because it essentially removed the tide altogether. It meant that you had to pay just a pretty expensive premium. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars to confirm your exchange rate. But at least then we knew exactly where we stood. There was no, our rate was guaranteed. And so the tide stopped turning. But otherwise, that currency exchange thing is such a good example for businesses. So you got to remember, not everything's inside your control. Some things are, and great, make the most out of those, enjoy them. But those things that are outside your control, sometimes you've just got to wait for the tide to turn. And if you feel like you've been on a run of bad luck, eventually things will turn around. It's just a matter of being patient from time to time. Not always easy if you're like me. It sucks. It really sucks when things are running against you. But you'll be okay. Tide will always turn at some point. You just got to make the most out of every day, the best you can, until that happens. Whatever you're getting up to today, I hope it's a good one. Thanks for joining me for a morning walk in Port Hedland. See you later.